It's almost a race between getting people vaccinating and this surge.
Climbing coronavirus case numbers prompt fresh concerns.
My biggest fear is that I may have passed this virus to someone that I love dearly.
Even as vaccines roll out, variants are spreading.
There are a certain percentage of people who test positive after vaccination.
Yesterday I came and it was 7:15 and they were already done.
Up at the crack of dawn just to get a concealed handgun permit.
I think it'll be something that's only going to be harder to get later on.
After a series of mass shootings, attention turns to gun regulations. It's prompting some to act quickly on firearm purchases.
And slapped with shocking energy bills. Out-of-state weather spikes prices for Colorado customers. What lawmakers want to see change. Tonight, our nation is facing a battle, trying to ramp up vaccinations quickly as COVID case numbers rise.
And you can see it playing out right here in our state. 1 in 3 Coloradans received at least one coronavirus shot. At the same time, hospitalizations are climbing. Nearly 450 hospital beds are in use due to the virus right now, and that number back up to the level we saw nearly 2 months ago.
All right, good evening and welcome to Denver7 News at 10. I'm Shannon Ogden.
And I'm Ann Trujillo. We thank you for joining us. So what is driving this? Well, one thing the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is watching right now, variants of the virus. The UK variant is now the dominant version in our nation. And that is concerning because doctors believe it is both easier to catch and more deadly than other versions.
And with many older Americans now vaccinated, infections are surging among young people.
Clusters of cases in daycare, as well as school sports, particularly team sports, which people engage in close contact without masks. I think that is what is explaining these surges of cases in young individuals driven by the variant.
Dr. Anthony Fauci urging everyone to get the shot as soon as you can and keep up with mask wearing and social distancing for now. Now, Colorado plans to lift statewide pandemic rules next Friday, and at that point, local leaders will make the calls on mask wearing and social distancing regulations.
And while we know vaccines are one of the best ways to protect yourself against the virus, they are not 100% effective for everyone. One Colorado man found that out the hard way.
Our CB Cotton reports tonight there's now suspicion a variant may have caused his infection after he was vaccinated.
Denver streets now lead us to new stopping points that at one time during the pandemic we couldn't take part of. Restaurant dining, one example of many.
Oh, absolutely.
Broomfield resident Craig Vandiver says he knows all too well. He closely followed public health orders while caring for his elderly mother.
Been, with my siblings helping to take care of her throughout this.
And taking care of himself by receiving the COVID-19 vaccine.
I received the Pfizer vaccine. I've received both doses, and I received my last dose over a month ago.
So as restrictions eased, Vandiver felt safer seeing friends and loved ones over the dinner table.
I had visited with some number of friends in COVID-safe environments and had followed all the COVID restrictions and felt that I was doing everything that I can to stay safe from this virus.
But late last week, he noticed minor cold symptoms, so he got tested for COVID-19. The result? Positive.
I was absolutely shocked.
Vandiver says he was contacted by CDPHE shortly after, and they told him he likely had a variant of the disease.
Safe to assume that it was probably the UK variant that I was exposed to.
Back in early March, state health officials warned more contagious variants of COVID-19 were increasing. And by mid-March, officials said variants made up 30% of Colorado's positive cases. All the while, vaccination rates have been increasing too, but it doesn't mean absolute protection.
There are a certain percentage of people who test positive after vaccination.
But that positive case won't be as severe, according to Dr. Ross Kettle of CU Anschutz.
The key feature of the vaccine, ideally, it keeps you from getting infected, but bottom line, it keeps you from getting extremely ill and it going to the hospital and being, and dying.
Vandiver believes his vaccination did just that.
I truly believe that because I was vaccinated, my symptoms were more mild than they would have been had I not been vaccinated.
So he hopes as a community reaches new stopping points on the road to a new normal, everyone keeps their guard up.
If you even feel that you have a mild symptoms, take the proper precautions, get yourself tested, don't wait. That would be my best advice, I guess.
CB Cotton, Denver 7.
And tonight, the CDC is giving an update after a vaccine clinic at Dick's Sporting Goods Park was shut down yesterday. They said 11 people had adverse reactions after receiving the Johnson & Johnson shot. 2 were taken to the hospital for observation. Both state and federal health staff investigated and found no cause for concern. And in a statement, the CDC writes some people will have pain or swelling at the injection site or fever, chills, or a headache. These typically don't last long and are signs that your body is building protection. Now, in trials, less than 1% of people had serious adverse effects after receiving the vaccine. The more than 600 people who missed the Johnson & Johnson shot yesterday are being rebooked for Sunday, and they will get the Pfizer shot.
And to finally end the pandemic in Colorado, we need a high percentage of Coloradans to roll up their sleeves and get that coronavirus shot. And the CDC estimates that's going to be somewhere between 70 and 80%. So far, 33% have received the shot. Researchers warn that's the easy part. So right now we're vaccinating people who badly want the shot and are motivated to get it as soon as possible. But soon we're going to be dealing with a more hesitant group. A U.S. Census Bureau survey talked to unvaccinated Americans, and a little over half said they would definitely get the shot. A quarter said probably they would get it, and about 24% said they probably or definitely would not get it. A CNN analysis shows it would take until the end of the year for some states to sway the undecided and get every willing person vaccinated.
And Denver's mayor is striking an optimistic tone about a return to normal. Soon you may be able to go maskless outside in Denver. And I asked Mayor Hancock today when he thinks the Mile High City will be fully open.
I think you're going to start seeing the loosening of mask mandates in the coming weeks. I mean, within a matter of maybe the next week or so. My prediction was our complete turn of the corner would be late summer, early fall. I still believe that, but I believe that by June, July, we will be in a place to where we will have as greater semblance of normalcy as we have seen since last March.
Are you concerned at all about the possibility of, I mean, the Avs could be in the playoffs, the Nuggets could be in the playoffs, and the All-Star game, all of that happening at one time and trying to recover from COVID?
There are a lot worse things you could have in front of you. Those are the challenges I would welcome.
And as Denver rebounds, the mayor said, look for an announcement later this month about programs that will help get more people back to work and may include making some outdoor eating spaces and street closures permanent. He also told me DIA expansion is also part of the plan to keep the Colorado economy growing. 39 new gates are about to open.
Tonight, shock and grief in 2 states after mass shootings in South Carolina and Texas. First in Bryan, Texas, police say a man opened fire at a cabinet-making company where he worked. This is near Texas A&M University. He killed 1 person, injured 6, including a state trooper. And tonight, the suspected shooter is in custody. In South Carolina now, police believe former NFL player Philip Adams was the gunman who shot and killed 5 people in South Carolina. Officers say they don't know what prompted the attack on a very prominent doctor and his family. When police went to Adams' home, they found him dead from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot.
And today, President Joe Biden issued a series of executive orders on gun reform, and this comes after a string of mass shootings in recent weeks. The president ordered the Justice Department to come up with rules to regulate ghost guns or firearms that were built at home and are difficult to trace. The president also ordered the Justice Department to come up with rules for stabilizing braces like the one that was used by the Boulder shooter.
Now, with the president announcing these new regulations, it's no surprise that prospective gun buyers are motivated right now.
What is unexpected is the sheer scale of demand for concealed handgun permits in some places.
Well, Denver7's Addie Guajardo talked to some people in Arapahoe County in line for 2 hours before doors open just to secure their spot.
Before the sun rises, a line begins to form outside the Arapahoe County Sheriff's Office.
About 5:45, 5:40.
Nick Stanfield woke up at 5 a.m. to snag a spot in line.
Yeah, second time here, yeah.
He didn't make the cut on his first visit.
This is actually my 3rd time.
And neither did Levi Ortiz.
So today I showed up early, and there was already like 17 guys in the line.
The Arapahoe County Sheriff's Office hands out 35 concealed handgun permits 3 days a week. The earliest people arrived around 5 this morning. By 6:30 this morning, there is already 35 people in line and more still arriving.
We're actually seeing higher numbers.
Deputy John Bartman says they tend to experience an increase in concealed handgun permit requests in the wake of a mass shooting. We asked Nick, why now?
I think it'll be something that's only going to be harder to get later on.
On Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, residents can apply for concealed carry permits on a first-come, first-served basis.
Hi, what's your name?
On average, 50 people show up before the doors open at 7 a.m. In 2019, the Arapahoe County Sheriff's Office processed about 3,700 permits. In 2020, 4,900 permits. From January through April of this year, 1,700 permits have been processed, and Bartman expects to break the 2020 record.
Concealed carry.
Nick was part of the second group and was asked to come back at 9 a.m. They took his picture, his payment, and fingerprints. It'll take about 90 days to get his concealed carry permit.
Part of that problem that we're having is CBI is backed up.
Records show from 2019 to 2020, the Colorado Bureau of Investigation saw a 21% increase in background checks for concealed handgun permits. When we compared the first 2 months of 2020 and 2021, we found background checks for concealed carry permits spiked 73%. Nick's advice?
Show up early.
Have your paperwork in order and make sure to check your local sheriff's office guidelines online for any changes. Addie Guajardo, Denver7.
When she forwarded the email over, I opened it up and saw a gas bill for $21,000.
Coloradans on the hook for stunning energy bills.
Over a 3-day period, the price of gas went skyrocketing.
Out-of-state storms send costs soaring, and now local leaders say things need to change.
They did not mention that it was gouged up prices.
It was windy, but it was warm today. Coming up, I see a chance of snow.